My name's on it.
I remembered this time. This is the first time I remember to record it.
Yeah.
Your name is Dustin Adamson, right?
You got it. I'll take it.
Very little, right? David?
Yes.
I will give this to Justin, but you need to introduce it, I guess.
Dennis, you can't see you. The camera's over here.
Sorry.
This is, yeah. Can you see it? Can you see me?
Yeah.
I can now.
Yeah. You're gonna have to give the award.
It's just in there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. That's why I brought it and dropped it off.
That's the one in combat? The little one?
Yeah.
That's mine. Yeah.
Yours is that side of it. Are you doing Jessica?
It's theirs are like,
Oh,
this is a mini also.
okay.
That is a mini, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the 2.7K.
Okay, let's get this one.
Okay.
You can operate these in a lot of places. You've never had a license.
I'll just take care of it.
We need to get everybody in the
Yeah,
seats.
but I mean, like for mine, I fly it all around. Yeah, the FAA sticker on the outside, you know. Yeah. This is under, what's the regulation? Under
It's
half a pound?
It's a 5.5 pound.
Yeah. So
5.5
it's under a certain
ounces.
weight.
This makes, I'm not sure it does anymore.
No, yeah, when you put these on, it goes over. And that's the light guards. The ones that come with DJI are really heavy.
Okay.
This is his FAA number.
Yeah, that's a
Should I
registration.
go ahead and get an FAA number for mine?
Yeah, it's good practice. Even though you don't need a commercial license because you're not selling drone videos. But you got the recreational, you just claim I'm doing recreational flying.
Okay. All right. What do you think, David? Are we
Whenever
about
you're
ready to get
I'm
started?
ready. Sure. Let everybody sit down.
He's not showing full screen though.
You don't need to see me full screen. That's fine.
You'll have to stop sharing and see him from full screen.
Okay.
Let me do that.
Yeah, go ahead and
He's in
start.
control.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, great. You don't want to see me full screen. Well, anyhow, thanks for turning out tonight. In case anybody's wondering why I'm not there and I'm on Zoom, on my way to the HUPS meeting tonight, I swung by my dad's place to give him an at-home COVID test, and he was positive. I was with him for lunch on Friday, and then Sue and I went over there Saturday evening, and he was already getting a little bit of a sore throat Saturday evening. And then today he sounded pretty bad, so that's why I decided to give him the rapid test. And I was a little surprised he was positive because he just a little snotty and tiny bit of a sore throat. But he's been fully vaccinated and boosted, so hopefully he'll be fine. But instead of coming to the meeting, I decided to drop off Justin's award there at Bayland and then come back home and try to do this on Zoom. So I hope y'all can hear me okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. Well, thanks to all you people showing up and the Zoomers. And I say all the Zoomers are already muted, which is awesome. Not awesome that we can't talk to you, but awesome that during the meeting portion, we don't hear doorbells ringing and dogs barking. So that's always good. But thanks for coming, everybody. Let's see. I don't see any first time attendees or new members, but I'm not there either. So I assume that we're trucking right along here. I wanted to leave a little reminder. It's time to update your dues, pay your dues for the new year if you haven't done so already. The easiest way to do that is on PayPal on the website on hups.org. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. Has anybody been diving? Want to talk about a trip they've been on recently?
Henry.
Henry, all right.
I went to Bon Air for 2 weeks.
What do we have feedback from?
I think 'cause you have two computers there, both on. Right?
Yeah.
So we need to mute one of them. Maybe that'll help. Okay, Henry, so where'd you stay in Bon Air?
Newbie,
And how'd that work out?
that was good. I went to one of the backscatter classes there in Quigley puts on. So
Oh, yeah, awesome.
2 dives in the morning and then a class in the afternoon for 3 hours.
So a lot of light room.
Light room.
Yeah, awesome. So now I can call you with questions.
It's sort of mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's a lot to it.
But we can ask you questions, right? You're the expert now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna start
Depends
calling
on
you
how
questions.
good an answer you want.
All right,
Now
well,
you don't have
good.
the latest language, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do that.
Yeah, the classic version. You don't want the cloud version.
Okay. I mean, I have, the version I have, the last one, they sold it to you, it wasn't a subscription.
Oh, okay, no, yeah, I've got the subscription, it's $9.95 a month, and I get Photoshop and Lightroom. That was good. Bon Air was very good. The reefs are in great shape. We haven't had much activity in the last 2 years.
This is
How crowded was Bon Air this time? When you were there, were there many tourists there? Could you hear me, Henry? Were there many tourists there in Bon Air when you were there? I think you've muted Martin, or somebody's muted. Thank you.
I'm back on.
Okay.
Notice our dude rights.
Leave his.
I can't hear what he's saying.
Let me unmute. You stay there.
Said you were muted.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything for a moment there. So why are we getting that feedback today?
There's 2 computers turned on. Now, the hotels are only able to book like 50% because they have, for every room they have somebody in, they have to have a standby room for quarantine.
Wow.
So that limits how many people they can take in. So they had basically 2 full boats that went out every day.
Okay.
They normally had like 3 or 4.
And how many people were there with the backscatter Aaron Quigley class?
Week 1, there was 13, and the second week there was, I think, 18 or 19.
Okay, so you did 2 weeks of Aaron classes, and you really are going to be our expert.
Well,
That's right.
I quit going on Wednesday of the second week because my mind was blown.
He knew it already.
When she gets into the round tripping back and forth and all this stuff, it's like, okay, that's over my head, over my abilities.
Well, that's good you went. I'm sure you learned a lot, so that's a nice opportunity to take advantage of. Well, thank
Okay.
you very much, Henry. Anybody else got a dive trip to report?
We had a group from mostly HUPS, go, Mary and Martin and Betsy and Fred, and Cheryl and I and Ron, and then a couple of friends of ours from Oregon. And we went to Cozumel. And I really think y'all are
Well, 2 days we sat around and, didn't go anywhere because that cold front from Houston followed us right down to Cozumel. They closed the port for 2 solid days, and the third day we wish they'd closed the port. Froze our ass.
It was cold. And
So,
some of us went on one of the cenote dives. It was really awesome. Yeah, that was probably the best diving. Unfortunately, for those that didn't go. I don't know. I went under protest. I was like, I don't want to do this. I have a fear of caves. I don't like this. I don't want to go in. And I came up going through the back. It was incredible. It was one of the ones right out of, in June, so couldn't get that far.
Wasn't car wash, was it?
Which one?
Car wash?
No. No. But yeah, it was kind of brutally cold, and some of us didn't bring stuff for that. The resort was okay. I'd say it was okay. It wasn't really set up for divers.
Where'd you start?
San Escape Sabor.
Oh, you're down here.
Yeah. We went to, here are the you can tell them where the cenote was.
The cenote was north of Opera Mall.
What was the name of it?
You're gonna ask me that question?
Yeah, that's where we are.
I know. I know.
But I thought the diving was good. I mean, I enjoyed the diving when we got onto it.
Yeah, I was just persuading her to do it. That's a whole other-
Yeah,
whole nother thing.
I don't want to trash, you don't want to trash any place, but I would just say we recently got to compare Cozumel and the southern part of the Red Sea. And it's,
Oh, duh.
there was no doubt. I mean, Cozumel had so much more life.
Oh, you're actually serious.
I'm totally serious. Now, the corals and stuff like that are beautiful at the southern part of the Red Sea, but it was hands down. So Cozumel has really come back, I think.
I was shocked. I was totally shocked.
The last 20
comparing
years,
it to Bonaire and St. Lucia and all that.
Yeah, it was, I thought the diving was great.
Great eagle rays, great
Oh,
eagle ray
yeah.
experiences, yeah.
Good.
Really good.
I still want to see the photo or the video of the grouper and the eel.
Oh, the grouper and the eel.
God, that was just amazing.
Cross-species cohabitation.
They weren't just cohabitating, they were cuddling each other.
I'm trying to clean it up.
Oh, yeah.
Cuddling each other.
For the
Just
leadership.
miscegenation.
I have a suggestion. I think everybody that took that picture of those two critters should submit it next month for an evaluation and see who wins. Because
Duh.
Barry and
Mine was
I
not that good.
are out of the contest.
I only shot video, so I'm out too.
Well, I'm glad y'all had a good trip, and Cozumel is always fun and it's so close and easy. So it's always a great place to visit.
Kathy, did you go somewhere?
I went to, flew to St. Martin and got on the Caribbean Explorer 2. And it was not supposed to be a full boat, and I was celebrating a friend's 50th birthday, and he made it, and his wife didn't, and his other friend from Philadelphia made it, and the three of us had the boat for ourselves.
Wow.
And I think some other people got in the snowstorm and couldn't come, and one person didn't do all the COVID stuff right, and they wouldn't let her on the airplane, so it was just the three of us, and 7 crew. Great food, good diving, water was cold, Mary saved me, I wore her 7 meal suit all week happily. And the water was cold, and it was pretty. And, so it was good.
So you said that boat went to where? Did you go to Saba?
Yeah, they went straight to Saba. We dove, they would normally do St. Martin, St. Kitts, and come back from St. Kitts, but St. Kitts wouldn't let you on the island, and Saba wouldn't let you on the island.
But you dove the pinnacle.
But we dove the pinnacle.
Okay, well, good. Glad y'all had a good time. I'm glad more people, it seems like, are getting out diving, which is nice. Anybody else?
I was going to say, Val and I went to Fiji in January, so our accomplishment was getting certified.
Awesome.
All right.
My accomplishment was not running out of battery on her first giant strike. It's the longest giant strike preparation in the history of giant strikes. I promise you, my GoPro was about to die. And I will bring that video out to Hubs one day. And I'll make sure I break s'mores because you're gonna need snacks. And Bobby gonna emotion and say, you can do it, honey. You can do it, honey.
Yes.
So bless her, taking her. I convinced her that she would get certified from the shore. So I sold her on this. We're gonna go to Fiji, she's gonna shore certification, it's gonna be awesome. And then she realized very quickly tanks were being loaded on a boat. And along with her gear. And she was required to be on that boat. So 30 minutes into it, she's normally very talkative, did not speak to me. And then we got to the mooring line and she looked up and she's like, this is the big blue. And I was like, I know. You're gonna go in it. First dive, death grip onto the instructor. Second dive, slowly release. And then after that, got certified. So that was awesome.
It's awesome.
Video. So I was really pleased about that. I understand the enthusiasm video and all. And last but not least, we got caught in a category 1 cycle, which is great actually. It was awesome. I don't know what ever says that. It was great. Really loved it. It was just like we went to Uni and one, there's a very small plane that takes you from Nadi to Uni. You don't want to fly in that plane when it's windy. So it was awesome that we had to stay there. But all in all, talk about Fiji another day. It's good. I'll go back. 100% I want to go back.
Good. Glad you had a good time. And Valerie, I'm glad you got certified. That's awesome. Awesome. Anybody else have a dive trip report?
Yeah, I can tell you,
Zoomers.
I made one dive last month. One dive.
Oh yeah, tell us about that one.
No, I'll do the short story because the longer version will be later this year when Becky Schott does our Antarctica presentation. I'm going to do a little participate in that a little bit. Anyway, I made it to Antarctica and I made it back. That would be even more.
One dive a little short.
And yeah, I could have done 2 dives if I didn't have an equipment problem on the first dive. But anyway, I won't go into all those details. But there were some major issues on the trip beyond anybody's control. It was supposed to be 5 days in Antarctica, 5 days of diving, up to 10 dives. That was the plan. But I made 1 dive. And actually, I consider myself lucky compared to some of the other people. But again, more of that later. I did achieve, I had certain goals set in this trip, and I achieved the goal of landing on the 7th continent and another goal of scuba diving, the Antarctica. So those goals were met. Anyway, more about that.
Just trumps everybody's trip.
So all you
only did 1 dive.
I mean, still it's one.
Just look at it this way, Jesse. It was the South Pole and not the North Pole.
So all you guys that complained about diving in Cozumel or the Caribbean, it's cold, I don't want to hear it because Jesse was actually in cold water. All right. So anybody else? Any Zoomers have a trip report? No. All right. Well, moving right along. I guess since Justin was talking a minute ago, let's go ahead and get Justin up front there. Dennis, you have his award.
Right here.
All right. Justin's dressed pretty casual tonight, which is good because he matches Dennis. When we had the PDCC banquet a few weeks ago, Justin was planning on attending. And so I had to dress up a little bit more than normal because I knew Justin would probably be dressed up. But he didn't show up for any. Oh, did I disappear? And you've come a long way, I will say. You've made a lot of progress in your photography and we've enjoyed it. I enjoy watching that. And you did a great job winning the intermediate photographer of the year last year. And now you're competing in the big category. So I hope you do well. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Someone take a picture.
Here, let me take a picture.
You're halfway in the light and halfway out of the light, Justin. Scoot over one way or another. There you go.
For the kids.
Just don't get me in the background on it.
I have better lighting here, so. There we go. Hold it up, there you go.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's a highlight of my month when Martin reminds me on the fourth time to submit entries. And then I get it done at 11:59:59. It says thanks at 1 a.m. So I know somebody's on the other side. That makes me feel really good. All right. And I guess beyond that too, you know, it's being part of the club has helped me figure out some more of my life purpose of what I really want to do. You know, you have brilliant careers and you have great professions. What do you really want to do? What's your internal resume? So, you know, the more I participate and I shoot, I now have better goals on what photography, you know. It's not just likes on the internet, what I'm going to go do, but being part of something helps ground you, you know. So, you know, I hope I can have a collection of awards like Dennis. Maybe I have to build a cabinet for his awards. If that one gets too small, I'll have that one. Start stacking mine. But no, it's been great.
Thank you, Justin.
Awesome.
Appreciate
you.
And Jody Klein, I see you up there. I sent you an email today to get your address to mail you your award. So please send me your address. And,
I just did. Yeah, I just did.
Okay, okay, great. Thanks so much. And congratulations to you too as well for winning novice last year. And it's nice to see you guys tonight. So welcome to the meeting. And yeah, I'll send that out tomorrow if I got that address.
Thank you very much.
Sure thing. All right, let's see what's next on my list. Russell, did you want to say anything about the BVI trip?
Yeah, just a couple things. Deposits are due right now. We're going to send the money in next week by the 14th, whatever that is, to BVI. So I need to know tonight who's going. Right now I have 11 that are paid. Dennis, if he pays, is 12. Are you paying tonight?
I can.
Okay, or give it to Tom. So I've got 12 going. I got 3 spaces open. I didn't know, Ron, if you're going to go or not. Oh, okay. So anyway, I got May 14th through the 21st. You need to go on the 13th tonight, though, really. So because of the ferry issue. So anyway, everybody, if there's anybody else that wants to go, please get hold of me. It's been in the newsletter. That's my address, telephone number, and let me know, because I've got to let BVI know for sure how many people are going so we can divide up the cottages. Okay, that's all I got, really. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Russell. I had a note on here about something else. Yesterday, Dennis, Jesse, and I don't know if y'all talked about this every night, went on the Fling, the boat that goes to the flower gardens. They're going to try to start doing some birding trips during the non-diving season. And so they're looking for some people to go on a little shakedown cruise and get some pictures of birds for them to use on their website or social media or whatever. So we went out on that, and looking at the schedule for the Fling, I saw a few other interesting things. You know, as mentioned in the newsletter, Dennis wrote up an article that they're going to start doing a few blackwater trips out there in the Gulf. And I know Sage, I remember from Austin, is going to be running some of those spots or some of those groups out there on the blackwater trips. And something else that possibly of interest to some of you guys is that they're going to do at least one, maybe more, all women trips, all female trips. I think the whole crew, everybody is going to be all women. So if you're ever leery about staying on the boats that do the flower gardens because you kind of have mixed rooms, that may be a good opportunity for you, because it's just going to be all female trip. And those are on the website. I think Fling Charters. Did someone say they wanted to go on that trip, or what was that laugh?
You said nudist.
Okay, great. I don't know. I don't trust those triggerfish. I couldn't leave that untouched. Come on. Let's see what else. Betsy, do you want to say anything about Huff?
Just let me know, anybody who has not already, let me know if you want to volunteer. April 2nd and 3rd. Let me get your commitment to do that. I'll write it down and I'll be in touch with everybody. We're really getting down to the last few weeks of this. And so we've got a lot of organizing to do, and I appreciate every volunteer that I can get. I know you all
Okay,
did it
that was
last
way
time.
too mild. Okay, that was way too mild.
Okay.
We are 6 weeks and counting, okay? So last time we had COVID come in and bail us out, you know, we got an extra 9 months to get ready. We don't have that this time. I hope we don't have it this time. So we are at the point, we sent out a preliminary program. We still got to do some more cutting on that. It's a little bit too long right now. We've taken really hard steps, I think, with watching 100 movies, you know, kind of beating it down into something that's close to a program. We'll do a little bit more cutting, and then we'll be done with that part of it. But man, if you know somebody that can sponsor, somebody that can give us something for the raffle, you know, we need that as soon as we can.
Okay, and I also add in there, you know, tell your friends about it. Tell them now to get it on their calendars. You know, the more people we get to show up to attend this thing, the better it's going to be. So please try to spread the word and get the news out there about the festival. And then just encourage people that it's not just for HUPS. This is for the dive community or anybody that enjoys the ocean, period. They should be there. Betsy, you want a reminder about the spring video contest deadline?
The deadline is May 1st.
May 1st.
Spring contest.
For the spring video contest. Okay, I think that's about all I have. Anybody else have an announcement they need to make?
Let's do it.
Okay, Dennis, it's all you.
Well, I hope that it's going to be all me. Let's see. Is that all me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is going to be the presentation tonight, and we have received a special dispensation from Dallas. We have Hubert Bitner has come down. Apparently he's got some relatives in the area and knows Dallas, Houston pretty well. So he agreed to come down, and he has a very interesting resume. He's built helicopters. He's been a digital, I guess you've flown them in contests and won contests. He has been working for a real estate company for years.
Sales and marketing.
Yeah, telemarketing, as well as now he is retired and has his own business, and he's selling his services back to companies like his old company. But I'm going to turn it over to Hubert now, and he will give us his presentation.
All right. Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's great to be here. Again, the name of my company is H. Bitner Media, LLC, and I do freelance videos and everything from sports videos to corporate videos. And I'll be covering here in a little bit the president at Dallas Underwater Photographic Society. He and his wife, Jennifer, went on a trip about 3 years ago, I guess it was. And they asked me to edit their video, all their material to build their video. And I'll be showing you that video here in a little bit. But I do a variety of stuff. I do real estate photography and drone aerials of real estate as well. My wife's a real estate agent for Remax. And I've done home videos where I've actually flown a drone through a home to do the video because it's so stable. It's amazing. But the issue I ran into, of course, is the lens on the drone is not wide enough and it doesn't really show well. So I use a GoPro that's stabilized. You can literally hold the GoPro in your hand now and walk around, and they're so stable, it looks like you're on a Steadicam. And that worked out better because it has a wider angle lens. But anyway, so that's the sort of stuff I do. And I'll start out showing you this show here. So let's see, I got to share, I guess, right?
Sure.
All right. All right, so yeah, so I'm going to be going over some video tips tonight, basic stuff that'll help you with editing video. I'm not going to get too detailed because that could be a day or two alone. I'm going to get into asset management. When you take all your photos and all your videos, how do you arrange them, and what can go wrong if you don't arrange them right and you're working in your video editor. So I'm gonna give you some pointers there. And then I'm also going to talk about resolution of your photos you're working with. Because you know, on your cameras are probably high end. They do 25 or 36 or is very high megapixel, and the files are huge. Well, you really need to bring those file sizes down before you work in video. You don't have to, but it will choke your machine to death if you don't. So if you got a machine that can handle it, it's not a big deal. So first thing I'm gonna do is show you a short video. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and they give you a taste of the kind of videos I've done in the past. This is the Crossmark corporate headquarters. And I shot this back in 2014. Crossmark actually built a building between Walmart and Sam's, and that was it that you just saw. These are the sports videos I do. And I've done this for about 14 years for Wakeland. And I do 2 programs a year. These are I did a bunch of how-to videos, probably hundreds of them, that showed our people out in the field how to build something. And then we had national sales meetings in which I would work with Paul Crocker and coordinate making a video of how that meeting went to justify the cost of it. I did recruiting videos that talked about what was good about Crossmark and how to get people to come in and be a member of Crossmark and be an employee. So as this catches up here, so I worked with a really good art director on this by the name of Wade McClellan. He was fantastic. Then recently I did a video technology training for Crossmark and just teaching the behavior of the company, how to go down this technology road to use this new system that would help them do their business much quicker. So I did, that's one of the things. And recently I shot this of the Plano Flags of Honor. I shot this with the Mavic Mini and put music to it and everything. And this is Paul and Jennifer's diving video. This is just a shortcut of it. But this is the type of stuff I've done in the past. And I think it's about over here and I can move on. Yep. Okay, so this is kind of the agenda tonight. I'm gonna touch on video editing software, computer requirements, working with assets, everything I talked about before, video planning tips. When you go, if you're going to go on a trip, what should you do to prepare for getting good video and good photos? Some general tips about editing. And then we'll go into the drones, what to know. The drone technology is really incredible today. They practically fly themselves, but there are some areas that you can get in trouble real quick and you can have a bad experience where the first 10 minutes of your experience with a drone is not very pleasant if some of these things you don't know. So I got a simulator on here that we can do a demo. We can actually have volunteers come up and try to fly the simulator so you get a feel of what it's like. And then I'd like to fly my Mavic here in the room, and I'll show you some things with that too. And it's got prop guards on it, so don't worry. And then we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So, and if you have questions as I'm going, feel free to speak up. Video editing software. Dennis actually introduced me last week to DaVinci Resolve. I didn't know much about it. Went and looked it up and it looks pretty promising. I actually have Adobe Creative Suite and I use Adobe Premiere. Because of the real estate, I do Photoshop and I do Lightroom to deal with all the photos I do there, but I'm a Adobe Creative Suite user. These are other pieces of software that you can use. GoPro, very popular camera. It's got its own software too. A lot of these software packages that come with the camera, they're very packaged and they allow you to do things quick and they make it easy. Personally, because I've been editing video so long, I like to have a clean slate and be able to do anything and not be kind of aimed down a certain path. So but that's okay. It works well. A lot of people don't realize that PowerPoint can make videos. And it's just a matter of you put your whole PowerPoint together, you put your video clip on a slide, do your transition, you can put the whole thing together and you just simply save it as an MP4 file. And it's with audio and everything. So the other one is Camtasia. It's more of an e-learning thing. And when I say e-learning, it allows people to go in and be tested. It has exams in it, but it's got a pretty powerful video editor that works really pretty good. And this is some links that I included in an email that you can go to if you want to. These are real good videos to give you kind of an overview of these pieces of software I just talked about. The computer requirements. This is a very relative term. You can edit with pretty much anything, but if you have a machine that's got an 8-core processor with 64 gigs of RAM, it's going to crunch through your video very quickly and efficiently. Versus if you don't have that, it can be pretty frustrating to watch that render bar take forever to get your video prepared so you can watch it or preview it. So it's, again, if you've got a machine it's got a lot of horsepower, so to speak, it's gonna be great. It's wonderful. The other thing I want to point out is a second monitor in the video editing world it's critical, very beneficial. Video software is complex in that it has multiple windows that you're watching while you're editing. So you need screen real estate to be able to see all that. And then you want to see your output on another monitor. So you got plenty of room to see everything and you're not having to move the mouse or flip around or hit the tab key to look at what you're trying to do. This gives you a good perspective of video today. Right now.
So let me move you up further here. There we go.
All right, thank you. Obviously there's 8K video out there now. There's even, I think, 10 and 12K already. 4K is very popular now. And if you look at this chart here, you can see I pretty much output everything to 1080p. That's very popular. It's considered high definition. And if you look how big that frame is, the cyan color to the 4K, the yellow, well, think now, if you shot a video in 4K, you could literally, if you take that blue or that cyan colored 1080p, look how you could move that around in that 4K area. And wherever you stop to use it there, you're going to be at 100% quality. That's the advantage of shooting in 4K and then editing in a smaller size. It allows you to zoom and pan after the fact. You've already shot your video, but now you can come in behind that. And with your video editing tools, you can still move around and zoom. So it's pretty incredible. I shot kind of a Broadway play sort of thing here 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I shot it in 4K and I framed one camera full stage and the other one where the action was. And now after the fact, I can go in and concentrate on any particular actor after the fact. It's really a cool feature. Now I want to talk about the resolution. I mentioned that a little bit. This right here, just to kind of give you a good way to think of it. This is a 21 meg file, 21 million bytes. And you can see it's a crisp file. It looks really nice. Well, this is the 21 meg file at 100% at 1080p. And I know this gets kind of confusing, but just bear with me for a second. You can see the quality still looks good as I come in on it at 100%. Now, I could go further in to it and it still will look pretty good, but then it starts to break down. Let me show you. This is a 3 meg. Remember now, this is a 21 meg file at 100%. This is a 3 meg file at 100%. And it doesn't look too bad, does it? It's still pretty good. If you look and study, you'll notice the scales on the fish. When you come into here, they'll be a little blurred out. But if this were in a video and it went by or it panned by or you zoomed into it slowly, you'd be fine. It's a non-issue. the point I'm trying to make is if you're in a situation where your computer is not really powerful, you can convert your giant files from your camera, your raw files, to probably a 3 or 4 meg file, which is, again, the fraction. Well, when you bring that into your video editor and you start moving it around, your render time goes down to nothing because it's dealing with less data. Because the bottom line is when you output the video is going to output it at so much resolution anyway. So your giant 21 meg file in your video doesn't even matter because the video exporter is going to flatten the file and make it so much quality anyway. So this applies to PowerPoint. A lot of people, we had a lot of problems at Crossmark when I was there where people didn't know the resolution thing and they would build these PowerPoint presentations with these giant files in them. And then when they'd save the PowerPoint, the thing's 36 gigs or whatever, and they're trying to email it around the company. Of course, it doesn't work too well. Well, if you take those big files and convert them down to what PowerPoint works in the realm of PowerPoint, you'll cut that file down to nothing and it still looks the same. That's the amazing part about it. So that's the point I want to make there. The other thing I want to talk about is file management. I've trained people on video before, and invariably the first thing I run into, and it's understandable, I actually worked in a production environment. We had to really be tuned into workflow and what it took to be efficient because we had to produce so many videos a year or a week or whatever. But what we did is we made a folder on our servers that said, obviously I'm simplified, it's a simplified version, but video projects. And then a particular video project name is there. In other words, like Paul and Jennifer's video was Paul and Jennifer's vacation, whatever I call it. And then the year, March, however you want to name the title, I make a major folder. And then inside that folder, I go video clips, photos, music, output. Output is the actual finished video when it's done. Even that goes into that folder. Now, where I'm going with this is when I would go to people's and work with them to try to train them, I'd be working on it's better to work on a real project when you're training somebody. What I would find is they would have their pictures over in their picture folder on My Documents, and then have their video over here, and they'd have other stuff, titles and logos over here. And they would, it's no big deal. The video is still going to be beautiful. You're still going to make it and it's going to work. But when you want to come back to that project or you want to back it up because you run out of hard drive space, you're going to be, and you try to do that 6 months later, it's going to be very difficult to trace where everything is. And so you'll bring your video project file back up and it'll go, error, can't find this. So this is so simple, but what you do is you put everything that has to do with that video in that project name. And you can have 10 folders or 15 folders there named like I have it. I don't believe in over segmenting the folders. You can get so granular that you make it difficult to find anything. I've even tried putting everything in the main project name folder and just naming everything well and let File Manager manage it. Because think about File Manager sorts. You can do all kinds of searches. So I've gone both extremes and I kind of landed in the middle. But anyway, now when it comes to time to back up, hard drive space is cheap now. You can get an 8 terabyte drive from Amazon for 199 bucks. So hard drive space is pretty reasonable. You can get a 2 terabyte for $59. You know, it's real economical. But what I do is I take my computer video project in the File Manager and I just drag it over to my backup drive. So now if I come back to this project 2 years from now, 1 year from now, it's all there. And when you click on the project name, it's also saved in there. Everything comes up and works like it should. So these just pointers of telling you from experience of running into those little aggravations that you can have when you're editing video. Real quick, I'm gonna talk about, as you know, when everybody uses their phone now, everybody holds them vertical. Well, And I've had this argument several years ago, and I didn't win. I'm not going to win this argument. People are not, this is just the way it is. And this is a real popular way to deal with it. You see it on the news when they show something like this. You duplicate the photo and you blur it and scale it up, and then you put your photo in front of it. So that's one idea. And then, but back to the arguing with people, I used to say, when you go to a movie theater and sit down at Cinemark, it's the thing sitting like this. It doesn't matter. They're going to still do this. So I gave up. So the other idea I've done in video dealing with, especially when I do the sports awards, a lot of the parents shoot the videos and then send it in to me for me to work on. Well, invariably, I get video shot like this. So what I started doing is I'd take 3 shots and then play one frame, it stops. And then the next frame would play, it stops, next frame, just to utilize more screen real estate. Three vertical cell phone videos work real good in a 16:9 environment. Now, back to planning video. You're going on one of these diving trips, and these are just things to think about. I have to make a list for this stuff because I got so many little gadgets and gizmos that I have to have with me when I go somewhere. And or invariably, I will forget something and I'll get where I'm going and go, wow, that was bad. And so anyway, chargers, extra batteries, SD cards, lenses needed, filters, whatever. Now back to the doing a story. When you think of writing out a story, you think that means you're going to be narrating it or something. You're going to be have talking going on while the video is playing. The best way to tell a story, if you've got a bunch of video, is write your story out. Like you're telling a friend, here's what we did. First, we went over here, and use that as your editing guide for you, the way your video is going to play out in your story. Because you're telling a story, but you're doing it with visuals. And I'm actually saying you're not even going to have a narrator. But if you narrate it in advance and hear it and edit to that, it'll make more sense when you see the finished product. It's a great way to do that. Make a list of the type of shots. And I mean everything, like the airport, the flight itself, looking out the window, whatever. The transportation, where you stayed, all the activities, and your other travel mates. Shoot videos and photos of the environment. Everything, the sound, the rocks, the reef. These can make great background backdrops in a video where you might have a cell phone video going across it. You're using the textures of that place you went to, and it works out really good. So shoot the whole experience. But here's another good pointer. If you are going to do audio recording, you can do it while you're out and about, but you're going to get a lot of background noise in the process, unless you have professional audio equipment where you've got a lab and really good equipment. Even a cell phone does incredibly good audio if you isolate yourself in a car with the engine off and a closet full of clothes. You'd be amazed at how good the audio will be just by holding the phone about this far away and talking. It's pristine. It's amazing. I've had people where we had to get an extra shot after I had left a city to get something, and they said, oh, I wanted to say something else, and you didn't get it. And I would tell them, and I'd walk them through that, and they would send it to me, and I almost could, with effects, make it blend into what I already had. It's hard, but I could almost do that. But the audio is critical. You can have a beautiful video, and if the audio is hard to understand or doesn't sound good, destroys the whole thing. Audio is critical. But yeah, stay away from background noise while you're recording. When we'd go into a grocery store to do a how-to video, we'd have to stay away from the coolers, the freezers, because all you hear is that in the background. Well, yes, and yes, they have tools to remove those noises, but it only improves it. It doesn't fix it. It just makes it better. This is a good one. And it sounds like I'm being superstitious, but Even when I shot on videotape, I'd always had my equipment with me, and I would capture that tape to my computer before I got on the plane and flew back home. Well, same thing with SD cards, because someone spread a rumor back, this is probably 15 years ago, that when you go through the X-ray at the airport, it'll zap your tapes. I'm like, oh no. So, and then the same thing with SD cards. So I always have everything I need on my trip to take my SD card out of the camera, put it in the computer, and move the data over to your computer. But don't erase the SD card before you come back. It's just, it would be horrible to get back after your trip and you start to do that, and something that you could not predict happens and you can't pull the data off that SD card. I've seen SD cards go bad. It happens, but so that's just something to think about. Another quick, these are just things to help you in your editing. Keyboard shortcuts. The software can be set up to where, for example, when I'm editing, I have the letter D deletes. And my W letter goes one frame at a time forward. My Q goes one frame back. You can customize your keyboard to do things quicker rather than grabbing a mouse, going and find something and moving it around. You'll save a lot of time. And that's, again, I worked in a production environment, so that was critical to be able to move fast. Minimize font types, stay consistent. Two types of fonts works great. You have one that performs maybe the major title and the others for sub, and you never break away from that font style. It's the old deal, more is less and less is more. It keeps it very concise. Transitions, don't get carried away with transitions. It's cool that we can spin stuff and we can flip it and we can make it come flying in and all that. It needs to match what you're showing. If you've got fast action, then you're going to want a fast flash or something that gets you from one scene to the other. So you use these transitions to match a part of the story, what you're trying to tell. The video length. Now, this is a very sensitive topic. And Paul and Jennifer may be online right now listening to me. I did their video back in 2019. And we started out, they sent me hundreds and hundreds of video clips and images. And I said, you're going to have a 30-minute video with all this. Oh, no, that's too long. I agree. So we got it down to about 7 minutes, but it meant that they had to go through and select the best of what they were trying to do. That's critical. And where I'm going with this, I'll tell the story of, maybe you've had the experience where you know a couple that just got married and you go visit them and they go, hey, you want to come in the living room and watch our wedding video? And you're going, okay. And 2 hours later, and they love it. This is very important to them. But in your mind, you're going, don't you have a Reader's Digest version? And that's where I'm going with this. It's very critical, very sensitive, but every video I've ever done that's so long, where we had to come back to it because it was going to be used again, they would invariably say, can you make that 10-minute video 5 minutes? And it's hard, but I'd say, okay, we did. From then on, they never requested the long video again. That's just reality. It's the society we live in today. Everybody's fast. I heard that one radio station even is playing part of songs now. They don't even play the whole song. They just get into it, move on. So that's just the time we live in. But just be cognizant with your audience who's watching this. If the video is you personal and it's your work, you're going to love it. But let people that don't know anything about it watch it, and they'll see it in a different perspective. And it's up to you whether that matters or not, of course. But that's just something to keep in mind. Shorter is always better. And if you think about it, some of the best commercials ever made were in 15 seconds. It's amazing what you can do if you really think about it and what you can push into that small amount of time. Well, the same applies for storytelling. How many in here went to see the James Bond movie recently? What's the first thing you thought when you left? It's too long. Everything I've heard is too long, but it was a good.
It was long.
It was great. The video, the movie was great,
It was long.
but it was long, and that's a popular complaint. Adding a narration. If you're going to read from a script, don't get caught reading. It's the old adage, as an actor, don't get caught acting. It's the same thing. Adding music, balance your voice to your music. A lot of people tend to let the music drown out the voice. Get the music out of the way so the voice will come through. And in music variation, any of you probably watch these flip shows on home where they flip houses. You know, like Hometown, there's so many of them out there. But if you notice, they're changing the music every 10 to 12 seconds. And I'm not saying that's what you should do on the video you're working on, but the music changing to match the scene adds to the interest. It'll make people stick to it, and they're waiting to see what's going to come next. Whereas if the same song's playing over and over and over, it just, your brain tends to tune out. And here's another piece of really good advice. It's kind of strange, but if you listen without watching the visuals, you will hear things that you probably didn't notice while you read it. Just turn around and listen to your video, but don't watch it. You'll hear, oh, that song's a little loud, or something happened there. What was that pop? And the same is opposite. Watch the visuals with the sound turned off. You'll see editing, a crossfade that didn't work quite right. You'll pick up on those things a lot quicker if you don't have the sound playing. Watch the video with another person unfamiliar with the content. You'll see it differently and you'll get great feedback. That's a really important one there. Okay, well, I'm gonna play, this is Paul and Jennifer's video. And we're not gonna play this whole thing. It's about 7 minutes, but I'm gonna make some points as I go through it.
Do the full screen.
Well, try it. So what I did here, after I got all of their stuff, I said, how do I categorize and chapterize this video? Well, the first thing I started with was the flight, the plane, and the environment they went to. And so it just kind of sets the tone of where they're at. And then went all the way through there, and then different music. And I went into the actual dive. So here we went in. Now, something I want to show you here. These are still photos, and I could have showed just a static still photo with a crossfade. It would have been fine. But what I do is I try to add movement to the still photo to where it doesn't look like video, but it just adds another element to it. So you can, so if they're going up, so I try to make it look like it's a continuation. And sometimes I zoom in and then zoom away. But that's just a technique I use. And when I do the sports videos, my photographer, he will shoot a guy running with a touchdown, and it'll be going from left to right. I'll bring the guy in and then move him towards the goal, even though it's a still photo. It just adds another element to it. So I'm just kind of flipping around here. And then I transition to now the underwater life, the creatures. Different music. So I went through here, got kind of summed up, got all that together. So cover that, it's all, some of it's still photo, some of it's video. Right here's a good example where I was talking about, see the background? It's just the ocean. And that's what I meant when I said, get some of the textures where you go, the beach. Put a camera pointing at the beach and use your finger to write a title. It's just, these are little creative ideas. And then what I did is I thought, okay, the last chapter is, think of it as the evening before they leave to get on the plane. And I'm using that idea here where the background is like a texture from there and the images are floating over the top of it. So that goes on, and then kind of ended it like this. So that was how I approached that video. Like I said, it was about 3 years ago. And a lot of collaboration with Paul and Jennifer. I would send them a draft and they'd go, can we do this? Or can we try different music here? And we got it, and we got the whole thing done. So like I said, this was about 7.5 minutes and they love it. But someone, a stranger watches this is going, this is too long. This is too long. So you could take that information how you want to, but that's just the reality of where we're at now. These are some handy tools, and we're about to get into the drone stuff here. Wondershare is an encoder. And what that means is you can take a video that's so big, like the photos, and you can spit it back out, so to speak, a lot smaller. Maybe you needed to do that because somebody couldn't get it or their computer couldn't play it or whatever. YouTube downloader, as you know, when you go on YouTube, you can't really download the videos you see. So there's little workarounds that allow you to take a video off of YouTube.
Screen captures.
Yeah, that too. Hightail is a download service that I use. There's so many, it's unbelievable, but that works out good for me. I think I pay around $16 a month, but it's have unlimited gigabytes and all of that. I think you can actually subscribe to a free version, and it just limits to what you can do. Photo Sizer is the app that I use to take my wife's real estate photos when I shoot at home. The photos are, again, raw, some are 20 and 30 megs. I dump them into a folder in Photo Sizer, and it brings them down where I need. Now I edit while they're in the original raw state, but the MLS, which is the system that shows this for real estate agents, they have requirements that say your images can only be so big. So I have to format them to that size before we can even upload them to the real estate world. So I used the Photo Sizer to do that. And what's amazing is the original files are sitting over here, 10, 15, 20 gigs. And you look at them on your computer and you do next, and you look at them. Then you go to the folder that's their fraction that size, can't tell the difference. Now, everybody probably relate to this. Art is never finished, only abandoned. And that's funny. We always say this is something to do with film and video, but it actually applies to a lot of things in life. Okay, drones. Just to give you a little quick thing of my experience. I flew radio control helicopters in the early 70s and actually went into the manufacturing business. I was the national champion in 78 and 82. And what we had to do is fly very military-like, very like doing like what the best way to say it is like a highway in the sky. We had to fly a certain way. We had to do a figure eight so high off the ground, very accurate, very tedious flying. And so I have a background of flying radio control aircraft, which has really helped. And I'll show you something about that here in a little bit. But I got in 2013, the Walkera Storm with a GoPro. No, it didn't come with the GoPro. I put the GoPro on it. And in the beginning of my real estate videos, I did not have a video feed on that drone. I'd turn the GoPro on, take off and fly, look at the house and go, looks like about right there at work. The GoPro's recording video just constantly. And I go, well, maybe here. And I'd move around, get back home, capture the video, turn them into still photos. And but because of my ability to fly line of sight and fly without looking at a camera, I could pretty well estimate what I was doing, and it worked pretty good. But the video, anybody who flew with drones back then, in this situation, there was this thing called jelloing, and the video would actually be going like this all the time because it could not deal with the vibration from all that stuff going on. And when I bought the DJI in 2014, I was blown away. It's on the gimbal, and you could have the drone doing this. The wind could be hitting it around, and the video was rock solid, as though the drone was literally sitting on a table up in the sky.
And you didn't have to mute the GoPro audio.
What's that?
You didn't have to mute the GoPro audio because you just heard beeps.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And then in 2016, I got the Pro DJI Phantom, which was 4K. And that was fantastic. And then in 2018, I went with the Mavic. It might have been 19, but I believe it was 18. To now, I use the Mavic Mini 2.7, and I plan to upgrade to the 4K video soon. But that's what I've used ever since, and I just love it. I do have a commercial drone license, and it does fall below that, but I'll talk about that later here in a second. Commercial license. This is some basic stuff. Again, this is an 8-hour class alone to get a commercial license for a drone. And so the whole thing, you've heard the 400 feet rule. Don't fly within 5 miles of an airport. Watch out for helicopter tour pass. I only say that because of the audience I have here. You probably, something that you would commonly see where you're at. So you want to be watching that. Don't fly over people unless they are participating in what you're doing. Can only be flown in line of sight, or an observer must be used. Now, this is real critical. This rule is being broken more than anything. It's so easy to fly the drones now because you're looking at the screen while you're flying, and you don't even look up to see where it's at. You're just going around, and it's kind of a tunnel vision. Well, the FAA says you must have an observer if you're going to be steering at the thing like that. It's probably the most broken rule out there right now. My nephew got the Phantom here 3 or 4 years ago, and he literally sits on the back porch in Dickinson, and he takes off, and he just goes on a tour. He has no idea where the drone is. He flies over his neighbors, and he probably goes 2.5 miles away, and he's on a mission, and he's just like this the whole time. Well, you're not allowed to do that. But again, it's the rules are, the observer is for a reason, because think about it. If you're on an island and a helicopter tour comes and you're doing this, you need somebody to go, hey, you might want to come down. There's a helicopter coming from west. That's what the FA's, that's what they're thinking. And all of their rules are very good. They're for the right reasons. But it's most people, again, because the technology has gone so far ahead of the law, most people are able to just do these incredible things because it does have the viewer like that. I don't know if y'all remember the story back in probably as much as 10 years ago, when the guy was flying out of his apartment in Washington, D.C. He was in his apartment drunk, and he was flying a DJI Phantom, and he crashed at the White House. Well, imagine what DJI as a manufacturer is thinking right now, because he blamed it on them. So that's something else we want to talk about, is the updating thing here in a little bit. But the drone manufacturers had to tighten down, just like the FAA did, because unfortunately, I feel it's a matter of time before something bad could happen with one of these. It's just too easy. But So, you know, they have to regulate it. And the manufacturers have to put things. I think Dennis told me you tried to go out in your yard to fly your drone, and because you're close to Ellington, it wouldn't even let you fly.
That's what happened.
That's exact, and they're doing that because they can't take the liability. It's just incredible. So maximum speed is 100, and only the little FPV drones where they do racing do that, but it's not just a 4-rotor or multi-rotor thing that fits into the drone world. It can actually be a fixed wing airplane, and they can do 200 miles an hour. So that's why that 100-mile is there. Night flying must have anti-collision lights that are visible for 3 miles. It's another rule that's broken. Weight between 0.55 and 55 pounds must be registered with the FAA. The Mavic Mini is below the 0.55 without prop guards. And the weight between 0.55 and 55 pounds must be registered with the FAA. That's just some general things. Now, I would think, unless you guys are making money with drones, you would fit into the recreational flying on your diving trip. You shouldn't be worried about that. But you still have to observe those basic rules, because you can still get in trouble, because the FAA is looking to make an example, because they know they're understaffed and they can't police this very well. So you wouldn't want to, you want to try to keep these rules in check.
And if you go to other countries, do these rules change?
They do. They actually do. You have to get caught up on those rules.
A lot of the countries do take what the FAA rules are.
Yeah.
Keep them, but you got to check.
Yeah, exactly. The next thing here is line of sight explained. Line of sight just means that you're never looking down at your video feed. You're watching it the whole time, flying it. Like the old days when we flew radio control aircraft, it was about the art of flying and controlling an airplane, taxiing down a runway, taking off, flying around, doing acrobatics, and coming in and landing on that runway. It's a very difficult skill to do that. You have to work at it and work at it. And that's, again, what happened when the drone technology came out. They practically fly themselves, and you can be successful quick. So that's the line of sight versus looking at your thing. Going away from you and coming. When you're going away from you and you're looking at it, not watching the screen, the controls make sense. You do left, it goes left. You do right, it goes right. Forward, back. But the minute it turns around and starts coming back at you, the controls are reversed. And you go, oh, I'm glad to know that. I promise you, I promise you, the first time that happens to you, you will probably crash. Because what happens in the brain is you do what you think it should do, and it doesn't do it, and then you start fighting it. And this is the best advice I'm going to give all of you tonight. If you ever fly a drone, if you get in trouble, just let go of the sticks. It flies itself. It will literally stop and park in the sky, waiting for you to get it back where you want it. Just let it take over. We didn't have that in the radio control days. They would just fly into the ground. You know? But that's I'm telling you, when you're flying, especially for flying close quarters, I'm not saying everybody flies on the side of a building, but that's something that will help you a lot. Is if you get in trouble and you're out there, just let go, think about it, calm down, and then tap the rudder, which is the rotation, and keep moving it until it gets where you want it. And then you can take over and continue. Okay. So drone updates are important. Like I said, the regulation, set your home point. That's what happens if out in the water. Could happen.
Really?
The wind is not your friend. Remember, if you fly a drone downwind and then you turn it around to come back and you don't have enough battery power, you may not make it home. So this is just some real quick, flip through these fast. These are just simple drone tricks you can do that don't take a lot of skill. All these are, the drone is set at a certain altitude and it's just steadily flying over the scenery. Very easy to do. The other one is point the camera straight down and just move over stuff. Very popular, very easy to do. This one's a little more complicated. It's flying over and the camera's tilting as it flies over. Hard to do. And then this one, these two here, you can see there's a center point. The drone's not just flying by, it's flying and rotating to the center of that scene as it's doing it. It's a neat effect. And I thought these were really cool too. You just fly up over the boat. That's a neat reveal there. Same thing there. And this was, I thought was cool, is the drone's up above right now shooting this person about to get in the water. So they go in the water and then their drone takes over. So those two scenes are actually put together. So again, these are just real simple ideas, but they look good. This here, again, I'm going to send this information to Dennis so he can give it to all y'all after the fact. But these are apps that you can install on your phone to learn to fly a drone. And they're unbelievably realistic. And they're free. Free rider. I'd say this one right here is probably the best. The Quadcopter FX simulator. And then here, so how do you want to go ahead?
You want to do the simulation thing with somebody in the audience?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I just want to watch the time here.
I think we're okay now.
Okay.
But there's not going to be any dawdling. Who wants to be a guinea pig? Anybody want to fly his drone? Okay.
I have a drone. I've never successfully.
So who wants to try first?
Here we go. Here we go. Coming up behind.
Okay. So the difference in this simulator and the real drone is the drones now hold the altitude until you do something. Okay. This one doesn't. You got to control the altitude too. With a right stick, take your hand and just tilt that forward and watch what happens. And then if you pull back, it goes back. But let me.
Hey, Martin.
Away from me. So
Hey, Martin.
okay. So now go forward. Just push it forward.
I think, are you sharing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're seeing the PowerPoint still.
Not coming, we're still seeing PowerPoint.
Okay, stop share.
He needs to stop sharing and select the other screen. I saw everybody looking at the screen, so I knew there was something there.
Now you need to now go back to share screen. Now we got it.
Is that it?
No, it's not on the
Oh,
Zoom.
it's not on there. Okay. Share your screen and select.
Okay, here's, I don't see the share screen.
The simulator is what you want to share.
Yeah, you want to. Why don't you do it?
Okay, but you need to go to the Zoom session. Okay, just pause this, go to the Zoom session here. Just click on this one. Click on that one. Yeah. And go down here to share screen. And now select the screen.
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So use your left hand and move the left stick to the right. Yeah. So see now, stop right there. Now go forward. Now pull up and pull back and come backwards. Just keep coming. And then stop, push forward. So you see kind of balancing something with your right hand, like on a stick on your hand. And then your altitude is by pulling the left stick down, you'll come back down. So if you rotate the left stick or do it left and just hold it, it'll turn all the way around. But you can see as it turns, the orientation is different and the controls.
Just like I hope at home.
Very good.
It's a successful flight. Let's walk over and get it.
Anyone else want to try?
Fly through the hoop.
Yeah.
I bet you can do this.
See, now I'm flying with the camera like the way we fly the drones.
One green wing here now.
So that's that. Again, I want to keep moving along here.
And you said that that was an app that we can use?
Yeah, that right there is, it's called Real Flight. And you can get it on Amazon. It's about 170, 180 bucks.
Oh,
But you
okay,
get
so
the
it's not free.
You get the transmitter
You get
and
the
everything.
transmitter as well.
And it flies, let me see. It's got every type of aircraft.
That's what you need for your business, sure.
You know, so this is, you can go and fly radio control airplane as well.
Let's see if he can land it without crashing here. I bet he can. Oh, yeah.
But that's, I think, how are we on the sharing thing? Is everything good?
Yeah, I think now, are you done? Okay, I'd like to sit down now and do the examples.
Perfect. Now, are you going to be on this one or?
I'm going to be on yours because
Okay.
I need to now go and find the, let me see. I need to. Here we go. Okay, now where is my stick here?
Oh, let's see. Click on this, and just keep clicking that up arrow.
Oh, okay.
And it's probably going to be.
There it is right there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to get this up and moving here. I have 5 clips here that were done by people in HUPS that all have drones. I've got Craig Beasley and Justin Wallace, Barry Klein out in Arizona. Barry, you there? Barry? Hello? Do we have?
I'm here, Dennis.
Okay, cool. Right. And Jesse Conselmo. And every time that I show one of these, I would like to have you talk a little bit ahead of time. Craig, you come over here and talk a little bit about what we're going to see.
Before you show it, make sure you share it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, so I had no idea. I mean, I got a lot of footage like everybody else, but what I have here are a couple of examples of using drone footage. And by the way, it's really good advice what you said, because you go out and you shoot a whole lot of stuff and that's your only chance to do it. And then you get back home, and if you were in the Philippines, you're SOL if you didn't get the shot. So
don't forget to press record.
Right. Don't forget to hit focus too. I've done that a bunch of times. It's like, this is great, but it's out of focus. So I concentrated on using some of the things that I used as establishing shots, like you said. And but this is particularly aimed at some of the automatic stuff that DJI has. They call it one shot. And so it's pretty self-explanatory. So you just run it and I'll answer any questions.
I hope I'm going to run it here. Let me see now. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? No. Okay, hold on. I didn't share it. Stop. Escape. Minimize. Share screen. Okay. Share screen.
There, I got it.
Now, where is my video here? Here we go. Where's my video? There it is. Okay, we're going to start over.
Which is it? Magic grass or magic in the grass?
Okay, that's a misleading title. Sorry for that, but it's for a good cause. It's not about the next new crazy cannabis. That was just to get your attention. It's about seagrass, which gets no respect.
That's true. Seagrass doesn't look like much from the top side.
This all started because we were always in a big hurry to get out there and get in the water.
So those are just establishing shots.
The diving is great, the food is wonderful, and it's a lovely place to end the day.
So here I'm actually flying manually.
Now it's time to dive and visit the volcano.
Now, let me see if I can get out of this. Escape. Where's the escape button? Right there. Okay. Here we go. Now, let's see who's next here. We have Justin. Come over here and talk.
I'm gonna bring my toys with me too. Just you want to see it.
Well, I'll have to turn on the light or you can.
So I actually have a similar story. I started off in radio controlled helicopters as a way to bond with my 7-year-old daughter who didn't want me to crash her body car anymore. So every afternoon from school, so I bought these 2 radio controlled helicopters on Amazon for like $30, and that turned into $500, and you know how it goes, right? And similarly to, I started off with a DJI Phantom 1 that had a GoPro gimbal. So I had no idea what I was shooting. So I would fly it, and I thought I had this epic video, and I would take it back to the computer. All I really had was landing gear. So thank God, years later, I had Inspire 1, which always caused me grief to travel with. You guys know the Inspire 1? It's huge. It looks like an alien. You know, it takes off and the landing gear retracts. And then remember one time traveling, and it didn't come through the carousel and customs. And I was like, yeah, this is going to happen to me today. Got shaken down with the customs officers, and I never traveled with it again, and I sold it. So alas, came, you know, the DJI Mavic. So this one here is my, it's my Pro Zoom 2. So why did I get the zoom? So I got the zoom because I can do exactly that. You see in one of the shots where I'm close to an animal, but I'm not very close. I'm literally just using the zoom on the camera. I'm not going to take my mini out. I also have a mini because, again, as scuba divers with tons of gear, we run out of space, right? And my poor girlfriend runs out of space in her bag with my gear. So I have this one exact one too. I highly recommend it. It's an awesome drone. This, I don't know why you don't fly it anymore. I fly it anymore all the time.
You do?
All the time.
Well,
Yeah.
I've never lost mine.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then that all said, you know, I would tell you, like, I am a definitely stick and rudder guy in many ways, but I love flying manual. One way to learn is to figure eights. You know, you get your seat to the pants. And also, one cool thing is I fly my drones primarily off of dive boats. And how do you get them back?
Yeah.
How do you get them back? You take your girlfriend with you and you have her catch it. That's what you do, right? It gets expensive because it costs wine and drinks, but that's what you take your girlfriend with you and have her catch it. And if you guys don't know, you can catch any DJI drone and just turn it sideways and it'll turn the engines off.
Oh, okay.
So when I'm seriously catch the drone and turn it sideways, turn it, you know, 180 to the horizon, it'll turn off.
Okay, and Justin was nice enough to put together a compilation of all the different places he's been, and I was going to put it together, but then I said, well, why am I going to do this? Justin knows how to do this, so I asked him, and he produced this, and I think it's really pretty cool. So here we go. That's clever. Really neat. All right, there we go. Let's see who's next here. Barry. Talk to us, Barry.
Well, most of mine's manual. I think the first one we do like the asteroid shot, but most of the other flying was just practicing a lot of the places you're at and seeing how far you could fly them. Part of it, like at Antelope, I went all the way down to where I started losing signal. And, that kind of gets a pucker moment going for you, and you have to call it back real quick. But yeah, just go ahead and play it, Dennis.
Okay, I wanted, he sent me a bunch of stuff and we've been working together off and on. So I put this together, but it's all his work.
This is Columbia Gorge.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What happened? Just a second. We're going to have to stop. Okay, we're going to go back here. Here we go.
It's not shared.
Not shared, okay. Come here, Martin. Help me out. And then share screen.
Which one is it? This one?
It would be this one right here, I think. Yeah. Okay, now let me go back and start it again. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, Dennis,
Yeah,
is
we're
that kind of
good.
does that look kind of jerky on your end of it?
Yeah, I think it may have been a problem that we're having with
This is the Zoom thing. On the
Zoom
screen,
thing
it was
sometimes.
It was very, very much better than it was on the Zoom. The Zoom is only like 1 or 2 frames a second.
What?
1
Really?
or 2 frames a second. Yeah. That's what it was.
Because it looked very smooth, the one you sent.
What I sent to you? Yeah.
Yeah, it just a lot of it. I think I take more stills almost than I do video.
The
Yeah,
question is, was it at 720 or 1080?
it was at 1080.
1080.
Doesn't do
Yeah,
as
it
good.
was pretty jerky on Zoom.
Yeah, 720 does a lot better
Okay, okay,
on
well,
Zoom.
no telling what's gonna happen with this next one. Do I need to optimize for,
Optimize for video and share it.
okay,
Sure.
stop share and then then reshare?
Make sure you click that little box.
Okay, share, optimize for, optimize right there. Okay, share. Okay, now, the next one would be for Jesse, and I'm going to talk about the first one, which is Jesse and his drones, because it has to do with a trip that I took with Jesse on when he was taking his boat from Galveston all the way to the East Coast. And so hopefully, I saw Jesse fly his DJI Phantom drone on an epic trip up the Atlantic seaboard when he was moving the good vibrations from Galveston to his new East Coast home. Early one morning at Sunbury Crab Company Marina, he took it out for a run. It was a beautiful day. Okay, I'm going to let Jesse talk now about the project that he and I got involved with back about a year ago using his father's 16mm film. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting how this whole thing happened. My dad was a very, very avid home movie guy. And from the late 1940s up through the 1970s, he documented family life, his 6 kids growing up, and he used unlike most people in that generation, they were using 8mm and super 8mm cameras. He had a 16mm Kodak Cine that had 50-foot cartridges, cassettes. And so when he passed away, he left behind 20 reels of home movies. Each reel had 400 feet. And so one of my brothers had them all digitized. So there was this one reel that was completely digitized, and it had a piece of that he documented in 1962. This was when this northeaster hit the East Coast in the month of March in 1962. It was like a hurricane in March, and it devastated the East Coast. So he had some tremendous footage in this short segment of this 400-foot reel. So I wanted to cut that out, and I don't know anything about editing video, and this was digitized. So I said, hey, Dennis, could you do me a favor and cut this section out of my father, of this reel of 400 feet turned to digitize, and I just want this section of the 1962 Northeastern.
And then something unexpected happened.
Then something unexpected happened. Dennis looked at this and he goes, oh, wow. He goes, hey, let's make this a project. And I said, oh, what are you talking about? And so Dennis really, he gets the credit for this because Dennis, in his mind, he envisioned something much bigger.
A documentary,
A
basically.
documentary.
Yeah, and you were the one that was narrating it,
So
and I was
he went
producing it.
online and he got stuff. I contributed early last summer drone footage that I did in Cape May Point, because Cape May was the center of this catastrophe that occurred in 1962. And so I documented how it was after, 60 years, 55 years after this terrible storm. And so Dennis put it together and
we posted it on what was the name of it? Not Cape May.
Oh, Cool Cape May.
Cool Cape May, the Facebook page. And it had over 1,000 views after a short period of time. So it was pretty popular. It's about a 13-minute film, but we cut it out to about 3 minutes here,
Okay,
2 minutes. Like that.
So this is from 16 millimeter film from 1962. What this is really all about is documenting the aftermath of the northeaster that hit the mid-Atlantic states in 1962. They had a wooden boardwalk that went from one end of the town to the other end of the town, a couple miles long. The entire wooden boardwalk was gone. And they ultimately replaced it with a seawall and a concrete boardwalk, an asphalt boardwalk. That's what they have today. But that old wooden boardwalk was history. It was one of the worst. It wasn't even a hurricane. It wasn't even in hurricane season, yet it was one of the worst storms in American history. Half the beaches were wiped out. And the sand dune restoration has been a very, very important part of now protecting Cape May and Cape May Point. I just saw a clip the other day that in the news, they rated the 10 best beaches in the US, and they had Cape May in the top 10. And then they also had in New Jersey, the best beach in New Jersey is Cape May. And the beaches here have just turned out to be phenomenal with the restoration work that they've done, bringing in the sand. They're getting dredges offshore, and they're getting that sand, and then they build up the dunes, and then they've got the grass growing in the dunes to stabilize it. And it's just really, really nice here. And I mean, actually, I feel better protected here than ever. If we do get a hurricane here, we've got some pretty good protection there.
Yeah. All right, that was it. Everybody has had a chance to talk a little bit. And Barry, I am really sorry that we messed up your video. That was my fault. But we're going to have to get to the photo contest now.
Dennis, I
Yes.
don't think we have time. We have to be out of Bayland at 9 o'clock,
It's a 4-minute show.
Okay,
You got
4
10.
minutes, maybe we can do. Hit it. if we may not have time to say it afterwards, I just want to say the program tonight was awesome. I learned a lot about video editing and drones. So Hubert, thank you so much for coming down. We really enjoyed it.
I didn't realize we'd had so many people off diving, and it was really hilarious, but you should take a look at that. Stop share. Okay, stop share. You ready? Yeah, I did.
I'm not gonna play the music like that. I don't know how to turn back. We'd have to switch everything around. Mute that one.